Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another computer science lecture, and we are discussing section number 2, communication. And today we will be discussing network topologies. Network topology is the way that defines how different devices in a network are connected with each other. It defines the structure of a certain network. There can be many different ways in which you can connect these devices together. The first topology we have in our syllabus is known as bus topology. Every computer and network device in a bus network or bus topology is connected to a single backbone cable. It is a bidirectional network and it has a multi-point connection. That means you can add several devices onto it. It is a non-robust topology because if the backbone fails, the entire network fails. Common examples: a television cable network. This is what a bus topology network looks like. This is the central cable which is used to deliver messages all around the network, and these can be multiple devices which are connected to this central backbone. Advantages of bus topology: a single backbone cable is required to connect all the devices, so you can say less cabling is required. Coaxial or twisted pair cables are mainly used in bus networks that supports up to 10 Mbps. The cost of cable is less compared to other topologies. Installation and troubleshooting techniques are well known. Disadvantages: if the common cable or the backbone cable fails, then the whole network crashes. If the network traffic is heavy, it increases collisions in the network. Adding new devices to the network would slow down the network, and security is very low. Next, we have the star topology. In a star topology, all the devices are connected to a single hub, switch or server through a separate cable. Again, coaxial cable or twisted pair cables are used to connect the computers. Coaxial cable are not very common for this, however twisted pair are. Central hub can be a computer server that manages the network, or it can be a much simple device that only makes the connections between computers over the network possible. Common example: LANs at offices are usually connected using star topology, and it looks something like this. In the middle we have the server or a simple switch, and all the other devices, printers, scanners, or whatever is a part of your network, even the server, is connected to that central device. Advantages: it is easy to set up, it is robust, so if one link fails, rest of the network will continue to work smoothly. Fault identification and fault isolation is easy. Star topology is cost effective as it uses inexpensive coaxial cable or inexpensive twisted pair. Drawbacks: if the concentrator or the hub or the central device fails, the whole system will crash down. The network would not be able to continue as a network. The cost of installation is higher than the bus network. More cabling is required as each client needs to be connected separately to the hub. So you need as many cables as the number of devices in your network. The third one we have is known as mesh topology. In a mesh topology, every device is connected to all the other devices through a particular or a dedicated or a separate channel. Common examples used in military communication systems and aircraft navigation systems, or the patient monitoring systems in hospital. This is what a mesh topology diagram looks like. Every device in the network is directly connected with every other device on the network. Advantages: communication is very fast between the nodes. A node is basically every end device or every device that is a part of a network. It is, in technical terminologies, technical terminologies, it is known as a node. Mesh topology is robust. The fault is diagnosed easily. Data is reliable because data is transferred among the devices through dedicated channels or links, so there is no chance for interference or compromise to the integrity of data. It provides security and privacy. Drawbacks: installation and configuration is difficult. The cost of cabling is very extremely high because you need as many dedicated links for every device on the network as there are the total number of devices in the network. So it is only suitable for less number of devices, not ideal if you want to make a big network. The cost of maintenance is also very high. Next we have hybrid topology, the fourth and the last topology which is a part of our syllabus. This topology or this technology is a combination of two or more different types of topologies. Now, apart from the four which we have discussed above, rather three, hybrid is the fourth one, there are other topologies as well, such as ring, tree, etc. However, they are not a part of our syllabus. But hybrid topology is a topology where you combine two or more than two different available topologies in the world or in the market together to create your own unique topology due to various benefits. That process or that thing is known as a hybrid topology. A common example of a hybrid topology is a university campus network. The network may have a backbone of a star topology with each building connected to the backbone through a switch or router. Within each building there may be a bus or ring topology connecting the different rooms and offices. This can be an example of hybrid topology. In this diagram, however, we have bus network or bus topology as the main backbone, whereas every node on the bus is further connected through a tree topology or a star topology. Advantages: this topology is very much flexible. Size of the network can be easily expanded. They can handle large volumes of traffic. It is easier to identify where a network fault has occurred. They are very well suited to the creation of larger networks. Disadvantages: challenging to design the architecture of hybrid network. Not everyone can do it. You need a really good expert in order to make it work through. Hubs used in this topology are very much expensive. The infrastructure cost is also very high. Okay, next we have something which is known as cloud computing. Those four were the only topologies we have in our syllabus. Next topic we have in the syllabus is known as cloud computing. Cloud computing is the provision of computing services usually through the internet, such as cloud storage and cloud software. These two are the types of cloud computing available to us. The first is the cloud storage. Cloud storage simply means storing your files, data, document, images, music, videos, etc. on multiple remote servers. Users usually have to purchase some space on external server as on rental basis that is located somewhere in the world, and it can be accessed through the World Wide Web. The server is connected to the internet and can be downloaded from and uploaded to as necessary. The same data is stored on more than one servers in case of maintenance or repair, allowing clients to access data at any given time. This is known as data redundancy. When data is stored on multiple remote servers, so even if one server is down for any reason, you can still access your files and your data. The physical environment is owned and managed by a hosting company and may include hundreds of servers in many locations around the world. There are three common types of cloud storage. The public cloud, where it is a storage environment where the user or the client and the service provider or the storage provider are different companies. A company sets up a server and then rents out space on the server to different people around the world. They don't use it themselves. This is known as public cloud. Then we have the private cloud, where the storage provider and the client or the user are the same company. This is storage provided by dedicated environment behind a company's strong firewall, so that a company can make backup of their own data and they are not worried that their data may be seen by a third party. So they set up their own servers, their own data warehouses, and they dump or back up all of their data on their own servers, not on anybody else's server. This is known as private cloud, where a company sets up a data warehouse or a cloud server and then use it for their own business data. They don't rent it out to anybody else. Then we have this is known as private cloud, and lastly we have the hybrid cloud. It is a combination of the two above environments, where a company keeps some data which is more confidential on a public cloud, on a private cloud, and the data which is less confidential is stored on public cloud storage systems. So basically, when a company has some of their data backed up on public clouds and some on private cloud, we call that setup as a hybrid cloud. Public versus private cloud. Advantages of public cloud: no need to pay for expensive hardware and pay high salary to technical staff to run the off-site servers. They are very quick and easy. It is very quick and easy to scale your server requirements as necessary, as you would simply need to send an email of your demands to the public cloud service provider company or the hosting company, and they will make adjustments on your behalf. Advantages of private cloud: data is theoretically more secure, as data is technically on your own server or in your own grasp. Nobody else is having an access to your data. Also, you have more control of where the data is going and where it is not going. Data center server hardware and software can be customized as per your needs. It's true that you can pay the public cloud company to scale the servers according to your needs, but then again, those would be shared servers and they would only grant your request up to a specific point. They'll not be accepting your each and every demand. Whereas if it is a private cloud, if you are the sole owner of the cloud server, you can do whatever you want with your server. Here are some benefits and drawbacks of using cloud storage as a whole. User files stored on the cloud can be accessed at any time and from anywhere in the world. But if you have a slow or unstable internet connection, then you are going to have many problems in accessing your files. No need for a user to carry an external storage device, as you can always get your data from the cloud servers. Drawbacks: costs can be higher if large storage capacity is required. It can also be expensive to pay for higher download or upload data transfer. Hence, your network bandwidth would finish up quickly and you may have to pay more for your internet as your internet charges. Advantage: the cloud provides the user with remote backup of data with obvious benefits, like you won't lose your data or anything. A drawback is that there is always a chance for the potential failure of the cloud storage company, and it can be hacked, as well as sometimes the cloud companies just vanish overnight, and since they are only they don't have a physical existence, they only have a website or an email address, then tracing them back can be very difficult and you may end up losing all your data in overnight without any warning. Advantage: if a user has a failure of their hard disk or backup device, cloud storage will allow recovery of their data. And last but not the least, the cloud system offers almost unlimited storage capacity. Next, we have the second type of cloud computing, which is known as cloud softwares. It is another aspect of cloud computing where softwares are hosted and run entirely or partly on off-site servers. When you want to use the software, you simply connect to the server through World Wide Web or through your web browser, and the software runs within your browser and does all the work for you. You don't have to install it on your system. Benefits of cloud software: no need for a powerful computer to run heavy software such as video editing or any other 3D animation softwares. Software updates are handled invisibly, you don't have to worry about them. Upfront cost for cloud softwares are usually very less as compared to the upfront cost for the standard software solution. And no need to install the software on user's machine. You can use it through the internet online. No need to install anything. The drawbacks are user doesn't own the software. You are going to need a very stable internet connection for using the software. Otherwise, the setup may not work out for you. Some software require a high speed internet connection or a very high bandwidth. Otherwise, they will not work properly. So we are going to end our lecture till here. In the next lecture, we are going to continue discussing further, and we are going to discuss about different types of transmission media. So I'll see you guys in the next lecture. Till then, take care. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Do subscribe to my channel and spread the word. Thank you. Take care. Allah Hafiz.